Good morning to one and all. Here we are for the AICT ISTE sponsored refresher induction program on value-based education system, current and future scenario. This is day 1, session 2. It's going to be on quality in higher education by Dr. A. Arockiyarajan, Professor, IIT Madras. Now I request Professor Dr. R. Murugan to introduce the guest for us.
Thank you, Amos. It gives me immense pleasure on introducing Dr. A. Arockiyarajan, Professor from IIT Madras. Dr. A. Arockiyarajan obtained his master's degree from PSG College of Technology and pursued his doctoral studies at the University of Kesarlatan with specialization in computational mechanics. His postdoctoral work at University of Nottingham focused on generalized continuum approach for electromechanical coupled problems. He has industrial experience with Tata Motors, Pune, and Infineon, German. He is currently a professor with the Department of Applied Mechanics, Indian Institute of Technology, Madras. His research interest includes smart materials and structures, composites, and biomaterials. He is serving as consultant for various industries. He has over 120 publications in peer-reviewed journals, 3 patents, and contributed 5 book chapters. He is an associate fellow of Indian National Academy of Engineering. He has received Young Engineer Award from INAE and ISSS, Young Scientist Award from Institute of Smart Structure and Systems. From his institute, he has received Young Faculty Recognition Award and Institute Research Development Award. So it is our pleasure to welcome you, sir, on this program. So I hand over the session to Dr. A. Arockiyarajan.
Thank you so much for the introduction, sir. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Let me share the screen before we start the discussion.
Yes, sir.
Can you see the screen? Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Sir. Visible, sir. Visible.
Okay. Thank you so much once again, and welcome to this topic on quality in higher education. So, of course, you would have been seeing that one. My CV is mainly focusing on, it's the technical topics I worked on computations and also on coupled field problems. So suddenly, this is a new topic. I was asked to give a talk on that one. So I have to spend some time in the internet, to get some of the informations which is available. Also, means what I experienced in the last few years in the campus. I mean, taking the courses at IIT Madras. That exposure, possibly, I will share with you what I'm thinking about higher education and what it mandates and how to ensure the quality, or means how do we proceed to look into the quality in the higher education for that one. I think this kind of a question is always pondering around with the academicians, even in industrial also. Whenever we are talking about the higher education, the industry will also look into this nowadays, like specialization in the recruitment. So depends upon the projects what the company is going to have that one. They would prefer to have a specialized one, and which generally we call as means the higher education may provide that. On top of that, means even academicians also, like, means in the higher education is methods in many cases. So having said this particular, means the basic idea, let's see that one and how to go ahead, where we stand now, where are we going now, or where we were earlier, and where are we going now, and how will it be in the future. So, I mean, past, present, and future, possibly we will try to cover in this topic. All right. So, what I have been thinking about this particular topic. So first I wanted to do this once where we are now, the current situation, and the next few years means, means where we are going to do, and then I mean where we might be going, means this is what we wanted to do, but this is the fact what it is going to happen that one. These are all the questions if you are able to means discuss and see that one something we can understand. Basically, means it may try to improve. However, it is not only in our hand to improve the quality of higher education. There are many other policies and other stuff also is going to come into the picture. But nonetheless, means let us look at it what we can do from our side and how to get into this quality of higher education. That's what we are going to debate. I don't know means how much it is feasible to incorporate, how much we can expect at these things. That's all very challenging questions which always we will be pondering around. Not only here across the world also pondering around, but still we'll see what we could do that. All right. So generally in our Indian system, what we do that one, we will also not only in Indian system across the globe also, we try to means make it like this primary education system, and then the second one is a secondary education. Then we'll go for this higher education systems for this one. In other words, that one, all the three are interdependent. That is the one thing which we need to understand always in our discussions. So means higher education doesn't mean that one it won't come overnight without the primary and secondary. It's all interrelated, that one. So we always tell that one. So he or she, when we talk about that one, means their undergrad is not pretty strong. So it is very difficult to build up about that one. So that's the way how means it has been looked into this one. But you can see here, one thing is it's like a triangle, and the basics where it is started off here, and the higher is ending up with the point. There is a line, and then it is ending up with the point at the higher education for that one. So in other words, that one, and this can be interpreted in different ways, in my opinion. I mean, you can see here this the effort from in the primary and secondary from this academician side should be more and more and more and more. Then means when it goes to the higher education, the effort the higher education means in that one. It would be great if somebody who is in that one to mute the mic. Yeah. So you see here, this primary and secondary, the effort means from academicians. This is what I am have been looking at it. Like this has to be a very high effort from our side, and once we tune this one, then possibly means our effort can be reduced, and at the end of the day means means in the higher education, the people those who are going for that one, and they will be able to manage themselves. But nevertheless, this primary and secondary is pretty important, and to make them to grow for that one. So I used to give this a typical example. If you take anyone in PG, means post graduation in medical industry or in medical colleges, means the PG scholars, those who are MD or DCH or MS, they will have a lot of exposure. There is no hand-hold happens, in that system. So when they do this PG, the first year, they will be working day and night in the, emergency ward. They will be working in regular wards also. So there the exposure is how much you are trying to get in the patients and how much you are attending the patients, and how the senior doctors are trying to, means analyze and justify and see that one, predict that one, that really matters. So, means as much as possible, if these PG scholars, they are spending a time, they will be able to learn a lot from them. So that's really important for that one. So the workload for the PGs are extremely high for this one. For example, even the COVID time, the number of doctors which is available in hospitals may be pretty less, but then means the other way around, the PGs, those who are doing, they will be also extensively spending along with the regular doctors in the COVID time for that. It is not only that; it is all the time also. So this exposure really made them to get into this one. So basically, means other higher educations, means the people will be kind of independent. In other words, in the later stage of their studies. Initially, we need to have a hand on hold, but then later it may go for this one. So, of course, means like this primary and secondary, we cannot omit that one. That is what it is necessary for us to focus on that initially. Then, and automatically the maturity and means and their own sensitiveness will come to read, to understand, to learn quite something in this higher education systems, in my opinion, for that one. And so, when we look into this higher education, means from basically, means from engineering side or so, what is the student's perspective, right? What are they thinking? Why are they coming for, means higher education? Let's take this one. Some possible motives for students to undertake studies in the higher education system. What is some of the possible motivations which might, from students' perspective, we'll be looking at it this one. Say, upholding the family traditions, development, the competence. So this is very important point, means whenever we are talking, whenever we hire some masters or PhD scholars, and maybe ask the question that one, means that some of them will be working in industry, and some of them will be working in some institutes as an assistant professors. So when they come here, we ask that questions, and say, like, means the salary wise, it is very, very, or the stipend what you are getting for PhD or masters will be very, very low. In that case, why do you want to quit your job and wanted to join here? So the question, means when we ask that one, and the students, those who are coming for aspirants, which is coming for positions, they will tell this one, no, sir, we wanted to get, our competitions, it's not enough, so we need to improve our competence. We asked, how do you ensure that one, you will ensure that one, your masters will give you good competence? And generally the answer is, sir, in undergrad, we focused on the entire engineering, like either you take electrical engineering or mechanical engineering, civil engineering. We all understand the fundamentals of some of the basic courses, but I am keen on working on machine learning, let us say this one. I am keen on working on something on biological systems. I like in each and every one will come with their own importance. Some of them they say this one, though I'm a mechanical engineer, but I wanted to do something on sensors, and some of them tell that on astrophysics, like that. So they wanted to have a competence in that particular area for whatever the reasons. So some of the industries, when they work that one, sir, I didn't do any numerics, for example, computational fluid dynamics or some numerical approaches. But for me, I'm not able to cope up well because I don't have the competence. So I thought that when I do the masters, then possibly, I will be able to get more confident on that area. Possibly this may help that one. That's one questions which people will be pondering around that one for improving the competence. And intellectually, simulating experience for that one. So this is what I have been talking about this, and particularly in the medical doctors. Masters nowadays is like, means bread and butter. They need to do that one. The reason why, like engineering or any arts and science, undergrad MBBS is also, means like, it is something like understand the fundamentals. But then when in specialization, we need to do that one. Our intellectuals may improve a lot by looking at the cases. That's one of the reasons in engineering also. That's why, if you take an engineering or the masters in science, we have any specialization on that one. So even though nowadays in undergrad also coming with some specializations like people always talk about, BTech in mechanical engineering, sorry, BTech in computer science, but specialization in artificial intelligence and data analytics. I don't know how much, means that will try to improve, because in my opinion, always I see this one undergrad is very important to have a generic one, so that you will get an exposure, and then provided if the people are properly studying on that one. And means masters can be specialized in particular topic on this one. So that's the way how, means I will be doing. Basically, I'm a mechanical engineer, I work on computations, but still I will be able to understand that one. What do you mean by thermodynamics? What do you mean by first law of thermodynamics, second law of thermodynamics? Production, let us take this one. How will be the load? How will be the stress calculator, single point tool, multi-point tools, like that? We will be able to have some idea which I would have been studied in my undergrad, like machine drawing, engineering drawing, all the things. Where did we use the dotted line? These are all in fundamentals. You would have been studied something, thermal power plant, though I am not working on that area. Possibly means I will be able to know what is the difference between one thermal power plant to the other power plant. How do you design and means Carnot cycle? How do we develop these circuits? All these things we would have been having some fundamentals in our undergrad. But even though masters are very specialized, means at the end of the day, we also need to have some idea which might be helpful in the later stage. So that's what it is my comments. It is not necessary that everybody should accept that one. But at the end of the day, when you talk about the masters, it is on the higher education. So we feel this one intellectual stimulating experience may happen. That's what they expose to that one. That sometimes you will be able to see that one. And socially stimulating experience, that one. So it is also important that when we go somewhere, when like obviously nowadays people also think about that one. Masters is pretty important, and in social we will be having a little bit more respect than the other one, which either in education institute or industry, which always we mention or feel for it. So, like any industries, if they're going to hire the people, they will look into these undergraduate trainees and graduate trainees initially. So, undergraduate trainees, when they join after the undergraduation, so the next promotion generally, like the senior engineer, something like that, it will take 3 years minimum. You need to do that one. But when you do the post graduations, you may be putting in senior engineer directly on this one. So, in other words, that one, when you do the masters, you might be getting additional degree possibly in 2 years if you do a good job, and you will be getting means one more positions directly for that one. In that case, we are able to get the promotion, not the promotion, next level within 2 years, and on top of that one, the another benefits is you are having a degree with you, like that. So this will also kind of the way how where we placed in the societal environment, how it is trying to improve for that one. That is also means for this one. Useful credentials. This is what I have been talking about, that one. And societal and credentials are, in my opinion, it is interrelated. So what kind of, as I told you, the promotion wise or the position wise or the project wise also, means when you have a specialized one, you may have a position work which is related to only that area. So since I have done my master's in machine design, and I prefer to go for a computational work, so I chose my PhD in that area. So something like that, means the credentials will be given. So somebody is asking me which area you want to work. I'll tell that one my master's is in that area, so I would prefer to do that one. So that's also pretty important, that it might give some credentials. And that may also partially true, means from the student's perspective for this one. And also, means entering new layers of society. So once again, means the societal impact is also attached, like in the particular cases of our interest. So these are all, means the student's perspective, what is going to be a higher education system. This really matters, these are all the questions from the student's perspective, which might happen. To some extent, these are all the points are pretty fair enough, in my opinion. For example, obviously in masters, if you do a proper job, then we will get a good competence. And, means possibly the thinking will be a little different than in the undergraduate of these cases, which is true in my opinion. Suppose if you take a system in US when you want to go for masters, I mean the workload will be huge, huge. I mean anywhere in abroad, if you take it out, this one the assignments will be taken very, very seriously for that one. So the teachers will take 1.5 hours of lecture, but 6 hours of I know, 6 hours of these assignments or matters, and they will design in such a way that when assignments you will be really learning that one, you have to work day and night to finish these assignments for that one. So any one of your students or any one of our kids are doing masters in US, they will be telling that one, okay, this week I am my deadline for this assignment, so don't disturb me for that one. That's the way how the assignments have been made for this one. So the knowledge and other stuff, if you do our own, then only we will be able to understand that one. So this competition, competence and confidence and the intellectual, when we solve this one, what kind of a problem, then we'll go through some of the literature, and then we look into the how to solve the problem. We read few books, we'll look into some forums and to get the information for that one. That's all also matters for that one. So, means the credentials, competence, and experience, intellectual experience really matters in my opinion when we do the master. I'm not telling that one we don't get in undergrad, but means it's you may not have that much enough time because you have to focus on many topics wherein the masters may be spending time. So even if you take any engineering or any sciences, engineering sciences and medical, if you look into this project which we have a column, undergrad you may be spending 3 months possibly. It means in the masters you may be spending 8 months or so. And then when you do, PhD, it will be completely 3 years or 4 years or whatever the case. So in a particular topic, when you are spending more and more and more time for that, so obviously, your competence in the intellectual in that field will be and keep on improving this one. So to some extent, that one, whatever the student's perspective in higher education may be comfortably fine, and it makes sense in my opinion. All right. So some data which I have taken from the literature showing this one, what is the growth of higher education in India? Of course, it was only, it was compared, with 1947 when we got independence, and then 2004-5 for that one. So you can see here there is a significant improvement in the colleges, universities, and the enrollment of the students. All these things are happening that way. Like there may be a lag in between, and some of the institutions now closing down the masters because they are not getting enough students to run the show. All these things are available. Yes, that is also true to some extent. But I'm not going to look into that. Means why we are struggling. That is a different story, which we have few points to also discuss later stage. At this moment, I'm not going to discuss. But you can see here there is a growth in India about the higher education, and the people also feel this. There is a necessity to go for a higher studies at this moment. Suppose if you take now, particularly if you take any engineering colleges, people would prefer to have a PhD for that one than the masters. So earlier days, they join as an undergrad, masters, ME is fine for that one. But then later down the line, masters is also may not be enough, PhD one of the other day, we need to ensure that one. So, these are all the cases which which there is requirements and which obviously improve the growth rate of the higher education for that one. It mandates for that one. Henceforth, we are forced to do that one. Whether we are doing a good job in that or not, that's a different story. But nevertheless, if it mandates, obviously we are forced to do that. So you can see here the growth of the higher education in India is also booming up. And when we look into that, the higher education systems in India, one of the largest education system. We do have a lot of manpower. So, that is, if you look into this higher education, India produces a lot because of our population, number one, and on par with, with China. But there is a difference between India and China. And the major difference in China and India is most of their courses they do in Chinese language. So generally the myth is something like this, and not everybody in China speaks English. So when they go for multinational companies or go for higher studies, they sometimes try to means this language barrier will try them not to make them to stop to grow further, particularly in international level, possibly for higher studies. But means at this moment that was the case, but they are also trying to improve, right? When you take a statistics of the people those who are going for masters in US, India and China is number one and two. Means like it swaps. Sometimes Indians are number one, sometimes Chinese are number one, something like that. So because we have, if you look into our Indian own, our country itself, I mean, we have the largest educational systems and we have a lot of population, which like, we may not have that much employment. So if we improve ourselves, we are making intellectual, then only we will be able to attract a good job. So in that way, we do have largest education systems in our country. And a large stock of educated manpower, that has been, that's what I mean to say this one. Self-reliance in manpower needs for this one. Also export the manpower. So export the manpower means educated people also get positions, jobs, and furthermore higher studies. That is also possible because of that. So how we do medical tourism, they call us a medical tourism, because in India, there's a surgery, open heart surgery in India, probably like 10 times cheaper than any other countries for that one. So, there are some companies, and means some of the doctors are really experienced and good, so they feel that one, reliability can also be maintained. That one. So that's why it is also matters for us. Not only it means we are developing a manpower, but it's also possible for export the manpower. Not only that one, self-reliance. For example, some companies are coming to India, some institutions are coming to India. They wanted to start a business here. We have enough manpower. So higher education always provide the manpower for us for this one. So means any time when a company wanted to start a business in any countries, they will look into this one, all the resources. The resources, but what is the government policy, and then what about means investment rate, and what about the manpower which is available, and these are all the matters really for that one. So there is a big backup for availability of manpower also matters for this one. Some of the European countries, they may not, means they may have some shortage of experts because of the population, whatever the case. But then, means they will be also looking into that one. If suppose they wanted to make it in India, if somebody, means if it's a huge hours of task force and mad force coming from abroad to India, then they have to be heavily paid. Why do I need to do that one? So if I have a place where we can get their own confident and intellectual manpowers, I can ask them to work in their country and I can use it. That's one of the point which we'll be talking about that one. And democratization is another one. This one, improve in equity. It's also matters, right? So if you look into our history, there is a lot of improvement in the equity is coming nowadays, because means the government policies, and also people wanted to look into that one, and that really matters in the country. And pockets of excellence, as I told you that one, means specialized excellence is matters for that one. And also you have diversity in all areas. Means that's why whenever means there will be a statistics and data will be available. One thing is means what is our current requirements in higher education, and what is the market is going towards. And suppose if you take means early 2000, everybody was talking about means 2K in software industry. Then after that, the people will move towards some improvement, and then app-based one come into the picture. And now if you talk about this one in IoT, Internet of Things, and also online and business, and it's also moving towards today is like, as I told you, like non-contact systems and automated systems. All these things comes into the picture. So we need to have Indian system which will also have a diversity, not only a specific area, but it is also in other cases. Maybe in the early 2000 or late 90s, people say this one software means only India across the world, but not anymore. Of course, software is the pioneer, no doubt about that one. But then there are some other area also coming into the picture. As I told you that one, and medicines are also well established in Indian system as a higher education. There are many specialty in medical systems are coming. So if you see earlier days, a specialization in masters will be something very few. But now, there are many specializations are coming. There is nothing like a master's specialization in infection diseases. But now there is a specialization like a master's in infection disease, vascular surgery, like this, micro robot surgery. Like that, there are some specialized diabetology. Like that, many things are happening which you wouldn't be there in 2000. Rheumatology, something like that. And same thing here also in education also. There may be a lot of specializations which will be coming on this one. They will be exclusively looking for one particular topic. So diversity also matters in the education, and India is having that particular case, either societal impact point of view, or in an education point of view, or in industrial perspective. Also, diversity matters, and it also has that one. So it really helps us to do that one. And the other question in higher educations, which is also been pondering around for some time, is whether the growth is adequate. Okay, I mean, what matters when we look into the growth is adequate or not? The first one is the rapid economic development for that, right? So, I mean, are we in a position to make enough growth of higher education in such a way that one to make on par with the rapid economic development and to face global challenges, globalization and international competitions, which we have been working since 90s for sustainable higher level of human development, and for building an equitable system of education, promising opportunities for all for that one, creating of knowledge society for this one. So, means these are all the questions which will also ensure that one, so whether it's adequate or not, that still is a question. We need to keep on improving for that one. So, as I told you, any topics when we talk about that one, and globalization, international, will be keep on changing that one. So the market will be there for some time, then suddenly there will be a change. So some of the courses, like we may need to shut down, particularly in engineering, and because of there is no intake of this one. Once upon a time, means early 90s and late, like late 90s and early 2000 also, we will see this one, instrumentation and control, electronics and control. Like that, there are many courses, many colleges have been open, but then after that, means there was not many takers, so the sustainability will be a difficult one. Then they are forced to close that. Something like that. I mean, if you take a mechanical engineering, many places people talking about SIM, CAD, CAM, and means there is a saturation for that one. So things have been keep on changing that one because of the requirements and the challenges. So we have to also on par with the internalization. Otherwise, we may be missing out the bus. I mean, basically from growth as well as the job perspective. At the end of the day, whenever we are looking, whenever we are looking for a higher education, what it matters that one, at the end of the day, whatever the education, it has to be properly support us for our family and our systems, which apparently ended up with the income for the family and also our job satisfactions. And both of them are needs to go together. So sometimes, means both of them may not go well together, but we are forced to do for whatever the reasons, but we have to accept it. That's all. Nevertheless, we have to keep, means improve ourselves in any sense of what's happening in global and how to change ourselves. So we have to always run. There is no other way like, we are settled. Means until we retire or until what we live, we need to change ourselves and look into the challenges, what it is happening and how to improve that. Sometimes, means it also makes for us some of the foresee things, which also makes us to understand, to learn, or forced to do this one. So suddenly, if in the, if I mean, whether it's good or bad, if the ACTE or means the council, UGC or some other councils are coming with telling that one from 2025 onwards, education institute should have only PhDs. All the others should not be hired as an assistant professor level. Well, immediately there is a foresee. Whether we like it or not, there is a foresee. Maybe like 2025 may be extended to 2030. Let's take this one. But one of the other day it is going to come for that one. So which is a foresee thing which we are forced to do something more than that what we are in that one. Right, and means this also matters when it happens. For example, at this moment we are going in a pandemic situation. We haven't talked about before that one. What do you mean by online class? What do you mean by means offline? We are always feel that one offline is very important and all these things. But 1.5 years or 2 years, means we are forced to do online as much as possible. Not only in India, it is an entire global problem. So, means it really matters for this one. Whether we like it or not, we are forced to do this one. We can always debate that one, means offline is always better than online, no doubt about that one. But, means the situation makes for that one. And none of us wanted, knowing there are some means conditions in the pandemic situation, we don't want to take any risk for that one. So as much as possible, we would prefer to have an online. So we are trained. Initially, we wouldn't train for that one, but obviously, means after that, we are trained ourselves that one, how to do online, how to ensure that one. Of course, the workload may be significant than offline. When you want to teach or anything, it is not so easy to, means use the, tabs or any gadgets to do that one. So we are forced to buy something, and we are also trying to improve the way how to attract the people and so on. So we do also aware of this one. There is a limitations on this one. For example, means there is a foresee for attending some of the talks. Some of us will be means forced to attend the talks because of the requirements, whatever the policies taken from the institute or from the government. And we simply switch on this one, and we can always be focused on some other stuff. Wherein, it may also happen in offline classes, but, to some extent in the class, if we are seeing that one, we will try to take back on to the classes or whatever the case. But it may not be possible in online because we cannot spend time on policing these things. So there are some pros and cons available, but there is no other option. So we have to enforce this one. So it's the same thing, the challenges when it is come to the globalization, we cannot sit like that. Whatever I'm using a classical way. This is what I have done. So I wanted to retire with whatever I know. No, it's not going to be possible. So the growth is continuous, and we have to update ourselves all the time. Otherwise, we may not be in a position to compete with others. So this is really important. Not only our individual things, as a policy also. So we cannot say this one. There are some master courses we got to shut down. Some of the new courses which we need to open it out based on the market. And we cannot say this one. We don't have expert of the faculty members, so we cannot teach. No, we have to either make hire a new people. When you want to hire a new people, obviously the policy or administration may think that one and somebody to throw it away. Yes. Otherwise, we have to take an additional burden ourselves to entertain ourselves in that new topic, so that we can always tell the management or administration in such a way that one, yes, I am still competitive to take this particular topic, so please hold me. I can prove myself. So running is always necessary by looking the global challenges for that. Of course, means whatever we are trying to develop the higher educations, sustainability is also matters for this one. So either from education point of view or from industry point of view, whatever the case, even today, if you look into this industries, when they come for the placement, they have a specific topic. I wanted only on these computations. I wanted only today's scenario is people are working on machine learning. So people always tell that one, I need the people from machine learning or data analytics. That is the hard case. So most of the industry would prefer to take them. So immediately we have to introduce some elective courses or an external courses to make the kids to learn, so that possibly they may be able to attract people. So that is also matters how much sustainable which we need to do this one. So, for building an equitable system of education, promising opportunities for all, that is already is happening, I think, in our country, like equal opportunities to enhance that one. That's why we have, means in master's level, if you clear some exams, still, means people are giving the stipend. And but that kind of a stipend in Western countries are very, very less. They may reduce your fees, but means the stipends are very, very limited. It's almost nil in my opinion, and in few places maybe some specialists given, but not for all. But in our country, there is a requirements also, means the stipend wise. I mean, people cannot save, but they may be able to survive with their food and accommodation for that one. And like there are many schemes also available, depends upon to give an equal opportunities for all the people, those who wanted to meet the norms. And it is also going to, means create the society also becoming knowledgeable to entertain. Everybody should get info. I mean, it's all the perspective, means even though I am like knowledgeable, but when I'm trying to share that one, how much people are willing to take it out, or that is also matters. It is going to come over the time. It is not going to be overnight, but means at the end of the day, we should look into that one. From 5% to 10% improvement in creation of the knowledge society. Obviously, this will be a good intake for us in all the time for that. So, the growth is happening, but whether it's adequate or not, that is still is a question mark. And at the end of the day, we cannot stall with that one. We have to keep running. That's what at the end of the day, we will be looking at it by using the growth in the higher education for this one. And I put some slides about, what is the policies and practices in India, particularly related to the higher education for the. So, of course, there will be always a decline in the public budget for the higher educations, not recruitment of teachers, which many of us will be facing that issue, and cost recovery, what kind of fees and loan. And so the government may not be able to take care the entire budgets, which is for the higher education. So possibly they will make it as much as possible privatization for this one. So these are all the policies which government takes, and we have to adhere for that one. It is all, means the policy decisions, and we don't have any control on that one, but we should look into this one. Over the time, there may be a possible privatization, and you have to also be ready for everything when we wanted to go for this education for that. Yeah, no other way, because the economic growth, globalization, and also the availability of our own funds and our own resources. That's all really matters for that one. Whether we are, efficient enough to make it run efficient or not, that is another question. But still, government is taking different cases to attract a good, like brain drain should not happen that to attract as much as possible, but there is a limitations which might be happening for that. So, it is obvious, right? So we are the faculty members, and suppose, I get 5 offers from the different institutes. What will I do this one? I will look into the different perspective. Number one, from the salary point of view. Number two, easy accessibility from our residents. And number three, what kind of a workload which the five institutes are going to give that one. And obviously, how is our growth in that institute? All these things we will be looking into that, provided if you have many options. So always competitive people will be liked by many people, and they will also listen, and you can always argue. Not argument means, your requirements can be enhanced in such a way with the administration if you are that one. So that really matters in these cases. And if suppose if this expertise is pretty low, then obviously the requirements will be very high, very challenging. That is the area where we will be pondering around, and we need to look into that one. And like suppose if you today if you look into that one, and like the last 2 years, everybody is working on. Means the government also pumping money, particularly on COVID. So this may be a mail off for some time, and after that it will diffuse. And means like early 90s, late like 80s, if you look into this one, and even though still the research is going on, means problems related to the heart, but to some extent now, it can be, means well predicted, and it can be, means except very few cardiac sudden cardiac arrest, most of them can be sustained. But today, what is happening? People are trying to move towards diabetics and health systems towards that, hypertension. It is there for a long time, but now it is getting predominant because it's a big amount of money. When you think about that 130, means 150 crore of Indian population, let us take this one, 35 crores are diabetics. And each and every day the people has to take a medicine for that. When you can expect for how much the revenue industry is going to get for that one. So what else we can do that one, that is also matters for that one. So, these are all the specializations which we'll try to enhance to make the way how we can interact comes also matters for this. Nevertheless, privatization is going to be there from now onwards. Not only it's an across the global. We cannot comment on one particular country. Most of the countries are public universities, private universities, PSUs, private firms. All these things are going to come for that one. Affordness and with internationalization and globalization, if you want to be there, one, we should introduce that one. No other ways, and we have to prepare for that one. But these are the policies and practices we have to adhere to that one. We are not here to talk about whether I like the policy and practices, but we are obliged to do that one, so we have to accept it. Among the policies, how best we can improve, that's all we can entertain at the present scenario. And suppose generally what it's always telling that one, where are we and what do you mean by policies, what Indian policy, and what people's perspective about the higher education. All these things are there, but then when it comes to the quality, what do you mean by the quality? What means I want a quality student, I want a quality faculty, I want a quality engineer, I want a quality scientist, I want to have a quality, doctors. How do you justify that? How do you ensure that one they are in good quality for that one? So, I have looked into this literature, and then I got some points from that one. You can see here, producing graduates to meet the human resource needs of organization in the business, industries, and service sectors, including the public services. So, basically quality means a human resource that need organizations, but we need this one. So that's why, whenever we are doing a master's, we used to also, would you prefer to go to an industry or would you prefer to go to an academic, to simple extent? Or would you prefer to go for a public services for that? And it depends upon that one, we try to, also tell them that one, okay, whatever the classes or the degree courses you are taking, that one, the CGPA is matters, to give an example. But the projects which you are working on, that one, that can be tuned, depends upon your requirements. Typically, though in the public services, generally it may not be a significant influence, but industry and academia, it makes really matters for that one. So that is the reason why, people will going to business or industries or service sectors, they decide after our undergraduations, they decide that one, what needs to be done. Some of them will go to MBA because they wanted to be in business. Some of them will go to industry, they will prefer in technology. Some of them go to prefer in service sector, so they take a specified exams and then try to push themselves for that one. So these are all a few factors that requires, we are, in other words, that one, based on the requirements of the organization, we need to train the graduates for that one. That's what it is defined as the quality for that. The second point, which also coming up, like pushing forward the frontiers of knowledge via research. So there should be some amount of research. So you can also see that one research. So we will be reinventing or searching the solution for that. It's like a continuous mode. It is not going to stop once. We are done search and then stop. No, that's not the case. The research can also be looked into this one. We have to keep looking into that one. So anything what you are doing the day one, anything what you are trying to do after few months, it will be a significant improvement. This will happen to everybody. The first day of what I'm doing the teaching in the class, the means after 10 years what I'm doing the teaching, there will be a significant improvement. A lot of changes would have been happened that one. So that's what we need to push forward in if the people are going to be in business or in industry or in service sectors. That also matters for that. So what are all the possible four key factors which might be interesting in the quality of higher education? There should be a progressive separations of teaching and research for that one. So from academic point of view, yeah, that is there. So suppose if you go to some of the Western university institutions, they will say this one, I mean, assistant professor, research assistant professors. Like that, they will have that one. Even I'm seeing in some of the private institutes in India, they started off also hiring the people like, means assistant professors and assistant professors or associate, whatever the case, professors and research professors. And that's what, means the key factors. The difference is, means some of them are good in teaching. They may be placing on the teaching skills, and some of them are good on research, but they may not be comfortable in teaching some to some extent, and they will be focused on research. But nevertheless, there should be interrelations between these two. So typically, like let us take this one. Teaching means, means if there are some teaching professors, possibly 60 percentage they have to spend on teaching and 40 percentage on research. And in research, possibly 60 percentage on research plus 40 percentage on teaching. Something like that is and every means institutes will fix that one. It is not necessarily 60 and 40. It could be 70, 30. Something like that. It's possible, depends upon the cases. So, I mean, I think in the higher educations, when it comes to that one, it also look into that one. We have to, separate both and then handle it carefully between these two for this one. There are some exceptionals are available in Excel in both. If you are able to attract them, it is well and good for that one. But at the end of the day, what we can eat, that is also matters. I am able to take only 3 chapatis. That's it. You cannot, or anybody cannot force me to take more than that because my metabolism may not accept it. So same thing like that. We also need to know that one. That's why the separation now comes into pushing people in the higher education. Like you have to do teaching and you have to do research. Both are on par with equal. No, it is not going to work in my opinion. Means means for example, like if you ask me that one, I wanted to get some projects. I wanted to do some good research to get more PhDs and masters, then my teaching load should be one per means one course per semester, possibly one theory course and one experiments plus the research I may be able to do. Suppose if you give me two research, two courses, theory courses and two lab classes, and then you wanted to me do also research, it might be very difficult for me to handle all together. So at the end, neither I will do a good job here nor the other way around for this one. So this has to be looked into carefully when we want to improve the quality of higher education. Until we do that one, I don't think so we will be able to excel in good quality in education systems in a large extent. Of course, there are some exceptionals, we'll do that. From the students' point of view, there are some exceptions, they will be able to survive both. But I think we are looking on average how to make them to be an excel in that particular case. And the progressive transfer of research funds from the university's block and distributed by the funding council and to the research councils. This increases both the transparency of funding and the element of available for competitive basis for this one. I'm seeing this one, this has been coming up now, but I feel this one, it might take some more time also to do this one. And in master's level, if they write a small proposal for a project, and if they need some fund, 2 lakhs or 1 lakh, whatever, to make a demo or make a prototype, it has been enhanced by different cases. There are funding agencies are available, institutions also supporting that. Particularly some institutions, alumni funds are available to support that one. Sometimes the private industries or private institutions, they are able to give competitive prices in order to attract them. Possibly this patent or whatever this technology that they may hold it, but initial cost will be bad by that one. So that is coming up, that one. But only the thing is, it has to be little progressive. That's the point factor which matters also. Suppose we wanted to have that. And a progressive reduction of the scope and research funding by classifying the boundaries between the post, strategic, and applied research for that one. While the former can be funded legitimately out of the public purse, and the assumptions is that applied or near market research should be funded by the market for this one. I think this has been happened. So if you look into that one, some of the faculty members, when they are writing this one, they will have a column that one, basic research or applied research, something like that. It will be there for this one. So means it. As I told you that one, suppose there are funding agencies, space funding agencies, they will look into this and applied research since they wanted a product out of that one. So that's what it is written, that one near market research should be funded by the market for this one. There are some government funding agencies. They may be prepared to do this basic fundamental research, and rest of them will be looking at the applied research. It doesn't mean that one, there are some funding agencies, government funding agencies, doesn't mean that one they don't do applied research, but they do also for that one. But means this has to be enforced. It has been enforced earlier, but now slowly it is coming up into the picture in significant way. The assessment and ranking of research output by subject area and institution, and the use of this ranking to underpin a more selective approach for research funding for this one. Yeah. So this is once again, and if you look at this key factor, these have been also been done in India. At least last 5 years, the government come up with some policy like NIR of ranking in India for that one. So whether the ranking policies are right or not, that is not our question, and that is a debatable one, which we don't want to enter inside that one. But whatever was given us like an NAR of a ranking, so that gives some measures for us where we stand for that one. So obviously there is a push for everybody to get into that one. So there are many factors. Some factors are very good. Some factors are okay. But that may be improved later by giving this one. So, but when the same thing is happening in international level also, like a QS ranking, this ranking, and that ranking. As I told you that one, always there will be a debatable the way how the ranking. Some places where perceptions make an important role. That's okay. That's the way how the rankings are there. If still the rankings are pretty important to that one, and then like now this also makes to improve ourselves, to improve the quality, so that we also wanted to be in that ranking and improve the ranking from the previous year to this year. This is happening already. So whatever these key factors have been started off in India as well. But means it is like it's not maybe not been in a significant progressive. It may come soon, and partially it have been accommodated, and it will be coming soon, slowly, one by one for that. Yeah, so the classification of quality. So, when we talk about the classification of qualities, means it has been given in some survey stating that one, what is purposeful, exceptional, transformative, accountable, like that we can convert into this one. So, what do you mean by purposeful? Means institutional products and service conform to be a state vision or vision set of specifications, requirements, standards, including accreditations and so on. So regular bodies. These are all, mission and vision which is there, and along with the accreditation. So we have been talking about the NPA, NAC, and like this. There are something. This is all purposefully we need to improve the vision or mission in order to take a standard. Okay, we are on par with that one based on the standards. Right? Everywhere we have, not only in education policy. Suppose if you take a product, we have ISI standards. We have means TUV standards. which means that one which is trying to tell us that one the quality of the product you can rely on that one. That is a purpose of the quality which matters for that one. Exceptional. Institutional products and services, achieve distinctions and exclusively through the fulfillment of higher standards for this one. Okay. So all the time we may not be achieve all the standards. Let us take this one. There are some things which will be exceptionally good in that one. So we will be able to achieve the quality can also be given an exceptional for that one. That's why, even in gradings also we give like a good, very good, excellent. That depends upon on the exceptionals will be considered to be like excellent, something like that. Transformative, the institutional products and services, effective positive change in students' learning and the personal, like affective and psychometric domains and whatever the case, and the personal and professional potentials for that one. So, there should be a change in this students' learning perspective. That will also be a quality which is going to be a transformative for that one. So it's like not only a pen and paper, suppose hands-on experience and go to the lab and spend the time and come up with change the strategy or question the understandings. That is called transformative. Actually, transformative is really matters for this one. So generally, the transformative is the one which is going to really change from UG to PG for that one. Many times we may not do that one, but that's pretty important for this one. So to some extent that in undergrad, we try to do spoon feeding to give this information, but it's okay. When it comes to this postgraduate, we should not do. This is my opinion, personal opinion. And, but the problem is when we do UG, already we have done the spoon feeding, and to come to postgraduates and self-dependent to run that one, there will be a significant transitions is going to happen that one. Initial period, yes, there may be a struggle, there may be a depression, all the things will happen to that one, but no, that's the only way we need to be improve the quality in that sense. Accountability for this one. So institutions are accountable to stakeholders for the optimal use of resources and the delivery of accurate education system, so and so, which is very well right now. If there is a funding by X or Y for a project or institutions, so you have to answer that one accountability for this one. In order to do the accountability, when you can do the accountability, suppose you have or we have an institutions, the placement. First, we ensure that one good placement. Okay, placements have been done. Then the next one, double placement, or more than one company wanted a good candidate. How will it come? The quality of education which was fed to that particular aspirant. Then the next one, after this one, we move towards the salary wise. 2.5 crores per year. That is the salary the highest company came and picked up. This year, like highest salary was got by some 4 people. If that can be improved to 6, 8, 10, something like that progressively, then that is taken into accountable. Those who are funding, they will be happy to see this one. Whatever was given, that we are able to deliver in proper way for this one. So the qualifications is based on what purpose we have and what exceptional we need to do. Obviously, means that there is a transformative which is also necessary. Accountability also take into account for this one, because there is no free lunch. Whatever it is there, so it has to be taken into account for this everywhere. It is not means the funds was given from the government sectors or the private sectors. Based on that one, it has to be taken into account. We may not like it sometimes that why people are asking us means accountability, but yes, until we have an accountability, we won't also see. No, means if nobody is asking a question, I have for my right to everything to do that one, that doesn't work really. So accountability has to be there if you want to improve the quality for this one. Categories of qualitative indicators are that one. So there may be some indicators which may give us this one. That you and I are aware of that one. In our teaching also, when we get a feedback from the students, we get an indicator. We have given the institute would have been given an indicator, and then that also give us information about that one, where we stand and how to do all these things matters for us. So, the indicators, of course, when we have an indicators, each one of them will have a different indicators for that one, but that's fine. That's fine for that one. administrative indicators. So what will be an administration point of it will be looking at is that one. Okay, any institutions they will be looking at it, means there is a mission and vision. So in all institutions, we will have the mission and vision for that one. Every institutions you can see this boards which will be placed everywhere. What is the vision and what is the mission for that one? But the question is whether it is achievable or not. That is the question for that one. So every year, I mean, we need to. I think administratively indicators will means administrators always look into this one whether you don't need to achieve means visions and missions in the in overnight, but there should be an improvement in such a way that one whether it is achievable or not. That makes for that. So that's the mission which we have been looking at it. For example, means and the current pandemic situation, what is the mission for the government? If you ask me that one, vaccine is really matters for this one. We are not going to debate whether there is successful or not. That's a different story for that one. But means at the end of the day, there is only one tool possibly available for us to means sustain for that one. So in that case, what is the mission for the government? The government mission is means to make as much as possible to people to take the vaccine for this one. There may be a soft way to handle that. There may be a hard way to do that one. Well, I mean, it depends upon means the government policy should be taken that one. So typically what had happened, and they have announced free of cost medicines, and then they come across, means to facilitate that subsidy in the privates, and then they try to make it every day, means you can fix it online and you can go and take the vaccines for this one. Then they started off a mega camp for this one. So at least, means and mega camp means whether to do in Saturday or Sunday, and try to go very near to the houses to make it and then ensure that one. Well, the numbers have been given or not, that's a different story, but there is an effort, that's a mission. And in order to assure, to do the mission, there may be a base would have been discussed and it would have been implemented in that. How much it is successful, that's okay. They may have a target of by December 2021 to finish 80%. It may not be able to achieve for whatever reason, that's okay. But, means there is an indicator, and that indicator will be taken into appropriately for that one. And student support indicators, a quality of indicators that pertain to available and responsible for student services. Yeah, like means there are many standards are available, so they will be looking at the standards and to look into that one. Instructional indicators also, the quality of quality indicators to relevant to the educational content and competitor. Means there are some standards are available, and that will also give the indicators for that one. So where we stand in this indicator. Of course, means students' performance indicators. This one. So it's all interrelated. It's not only one that one. Suppose the instructional indicators are good and the students and support indicators are also good, then obviously students' performance is also going to be in relations with this one. So I mean, like as I told you, the skills, ability to lead the employment, that really makes this one students' performance indicators for that one. So sometimes, means a very simple example, everybody knows to do this differentiation and integration in maths for that one. But the real physical meaning of where do we need to do integrations, where need to do this differentiation, and in engineering applications, any streams or any sciences, how do we use integration and discretization? That really, means that is the one which is trying to improve the performance. And why not this particular technique? Why this technique? Why not the other technique? These are all the few questions that possibly, means when the students will be looked into the industry point of view, they may ask the questions that will give the quality, how much they have improved and how much instructions have been given for that one, that will also provide. I mean, not only from industry point of view, anywhere if they are going to go for that one, that indicators will be asked and it has to be met by that one. So this is like, how will be the conceptual model of quality depicting broad and space strategies for defining the quality. This is similar to what it was shown in this classification of quality, like purposeful, exceptional, transformative, and accountable. This is the 4 classification of quality, and this that is what it is written here. You can see there is a purpose, there is a transformative, exceptional, and accountable for that one. So it is like a chart, pie chart, which is given that one. So fulfillment of mission and vision, transparent aims and process, achievements of standards, for example, and then attainment of institutional goals. These are all the purpose from one perspective. And the other perspective, of course, there is a stakeholders. What are all the stakeholders? Administration is a stakeholder, students are stakeholders, faculty are stakeholders. It has to be taken into account. Everybody has to work for that one. So when we come to this exceptional, this is the second part. There should be a credibility, legitimacy, reputations, ranking, and prestige. All matters for that one when it comes to this exceptional cases. Come again to transformative, that like a learning-centered approach, learner-centered approach, and then competency of lecturers, clarity of outcomes, development of critical thinking, students engagement with the content for this one. So no, I have seen this one. These are all, there is a means the students are also asked to give some specific topic as a lecturer to improve that one, and the clarity of outcomes, how to define when you give the presentations, critical thinking. I mean, that matters really when we want to get typically, to venture inside a state of the art problem, that one, how are we thinking about that one? So it may not be right, but it has to be entertained to do the critical thinking. Suppose some of the researcher, which he or she may not accept the way how you are trying to solve the problem, we should not in a way that one agitate for that one, in my opinion. That one, they may be thinking in a different direction. It may be wrong or it may be right. We have to be in a position to accept it and give the leeway to them, space to them to go in that directions. And then if it is a good, well and good. If not, then they will obviously come back to us to see this one. Sir, this is not going to work. I'll do what you want. So possibly this transformative freedom, as well as means entertaining them, it matters really for that. Accountability, the last one, like means students' preparedness for employment. At the end of the day, what we are looking on, whether it's an undergrad or postgraduate, obviously employment matters for that one. Procurement of quality resources, that's matters. Sufficiency of facilities, focus on continuous improvement. So this all needs to be taken into account for that one. So continuous improvement, it is very, very important, and it has to be there with that anybody. Otherwise, means we are done with that one. If you retire, I mean, technically it may not hold good for this one. So we have to keep improving. We have to keep reading. We have to keep attending conferences. We have to look into this many videos and that topics. All the things really matters for us to do that. What could be the possible recommendations on defining the quality of that one? So existing state of quality assurance initiatives and recommendations, like institutions does not have a definition for quality or set of indicators to assess the quality. Use one of more broad conceptualization of quality in the conceptual mode to define the quality at your institutions, possibly, if it is not already set for that. Institution has a quality, definition of a quality, but no indicators to assess the quality. Means this is from institution side for this one. So review the existing definition of quality against the conceptual model. This is what I have been talking about that one, means whenever we have the mission and the vision, and it has to be told very clearly now, means whenever a new faculty is joining or new scientist or engineer is joining, what is the mission and what is the vision? Both of them should be told that one, and how we are going to fit into that one, that has to be done. But there are some no indicator to assess the quality, though there was mentioned that one, that should also be taken into account how to do that. Institutions have indicators to assess quality, but no definition of quality. So for that, what we need to do that one. So these are all the different possible, means initiatives which can be done in the institutional level as well as in the like education level. policy level that may be able to improve that one. So I have been adding some of them, means quality of teaching and learning, particularly from education point of view. When you talk about from academic point of view, so validation or course approval, that could be the one. Course review, accreditation for this one, audit for this, inspections, performance indicators, and moderation. Means these are all we have been doing. Means I'm not telling that when we are not doing, we are extensively doing all these things. So whenever there will be a committee, and the committee will have an internal members, external members, experts, educational experts, academic experts, and then also from government experts, policy experts, and industrial experts will be sitting in that one. Validation as course approval, that will be go through that one. In that one, they will do the course review. Each one of them is able to give their opinion, but among that one, which is possible, they will take into account. Then it will be approved or accredited by that. And like means like after accreditation, there will be an audit also will be happening this one. So in this case, this audit is something like examination and commenting on the university quality assurance system. So there will be a separately whether the courses are on par with this one. There may be a committee which will be looking at, for example, NAC or NBA, all these things, something like an audit, in my opinion. Inspections. And there will be an inspections from the universities to Indian field institutions to look into that one, and also look into the performance indicators for that one. So if suppose the indicators are not on par or an exceptional, that may be a modernization will happen to ensure that one. How will be that one? So how to improve if they are excellent? How to make this excellent to given to the other universities or other institutions? If you are on par or good, how to convert into a very good or excellent? This is what the modernization which we are talking about here for that one. This system have been done already, but how efficiently it has been introduced, that is the questions which we have to ask, and we have to work on that. So like these are all the few factors which is also going to growth of quality assurance in this one. The recognition in the need of greater accountability for the use of national resources. Recognition matters. Diversity on higher education, providing that one. Reduction in government control on higher education institutions, which is, I think, to some extent is fine. Increase the internalization of higher education for that one. Government is also looking for the other country people to come inside India and study for that one. That is also happening. Many private institutions also encouraging this one. These are all the things which might improve the quality assurance. So there are some stages of regulations and guidelines formulation. We need to do a self-evaluation. Peer group to review these education institutions, visits by the peer group, and publications on that report. These are all the 5, stage quality. If you are able to at that time, I'm not telling that it is not done. It is done, but how efficiently it is done, that's the question. So this is the one which in my opinion, sometimes what happens when we put a peer group, we'll put a soft nature peer group to accept it. In my opinion, we have to accept the criticism. Whether we are going to implement, whether we are capable to implement, that's a different story. But at least we should know that one, what is the limitations, including all of us, what we have. That somebody should tell us that. And what are all the challenges which we are facing that one? Of course, in the higher education, cost versus access. Can the students can afford the college or university fees? To some extent, the government is taking care of that one, but still it's a challenging part. What are all the learning outcomes from that one? And are our students learning what they need to know about the world of work? That is the one question. Are they learning what they need to know about the personal development? And are they learning what they need to do in the productive citizens of our society for this one? So the expectations and the learning outcomes from the higher education has all sources, maybe from the societal point of view, personal development point of view, what world is looking, by all these things. It may be difficult to achieve everything, but at least one or two, if you are able to go towards that one, it would be good. The third one is the technology. What is the new and rapid development in information technology and higher education is happening. That's why that is also happening. As I told you that one, what is the recent trend in the industry? Based on that one, courses have been designed. But whether we have expert to teach the course, that's a question which we need to ask. If it's yes, then possibly the outcome will also be good in that. That's all. So, means means praising the students out of the education somehow controls cost. Learning outcomes, means I try to put the reading, writing, and the mathematical ability. I have been seeing that nowadays, means everywhere. In education institutions, we try to kick off math, physics. I mean, try to add math, physics and chemistry, some basic courses there. Now, no, we don't have, means any slots are available. We need to give based on the placement point of view. So we will try to merge this one. It doesn't really work. Math, physics, and chemistry matters really for engineering, in my opinion. So if you are trying to reduce that one, and it is going to really shut down that one. So the fundamental has to be there in this one. That's why many master's courses also focusing on some advanced mathematics. One would argue that why do you need mathematics? But without mathematics, we cannot do anything on that one, for your information. So we have to look into that as well. And technology, may permit new ways of teaching, which is that's what I'm talking about. Pandemic made us to look into the how technology can be enhanced to improve the communications. Yeah, possible future developments. There are three. The three forces have combined to create the new wave for the change. One is like the competition in higher education, like from traditional sources, private firm building internal source structures, from private for profit teaching institutions, from strategy industry partnership, from new initiatives, state initiatives. These are all the possible future directions which can be efficiently taken into account for this one. Possible emerging trends could be, emphasis on quality assurance and the encouragement of the institutional quality culture, qualification framework, subject benchmarks, and great focus on output for this one. What the student has learned, what is the graduate has gone. So where is the graduate has gone? All the time the people used to do that one. So this is very important. We always say this one. Sir, most of them are going to IT industry. And because the job opportunities in their core field is very less. Most of them are going for banking sector. Most of them are going to, X or Y industries. For that reasons, they are not placing in core area. Maybe the job may be pretty less. I agree with that one, but their competition or the competitiveness in their core area may not be also, significant. That could also be one of the reason it may not be emerging. Rather, they are focusing on from job perspective. But these are all the emerging trends should also take into account of that. Yeah. So quality external means global external quality assurance agency. We have been doing that one. There are some industries, some academicians used to do right. That is a standards in international level. Related development in the world professional mechanism, and of course, what is the consequence? Standardization, improve mutual recognition, qualifications, and eliminate very poor provisions for that one. Growth in higher education outside traditional universities, more teaching, and done by the non-researchers. That is also, though it is a controversy to the previous discussions. We need to have like a win-win situation. So some of the courses have to be taken by the industrialists, some of the courses have to be taken by academicians for that one. So in that case, industries may not look at it mass point of view, how to attain the problem to be solved. That's what they need to look at this one. Mathematics, academician look at it from other perspective. So in my opinion, both of them should be win-win in that case. That may be helpful in order to improve the quality in the further development for that one. So basically, like we need to plan, we have to do, and we have to study that whether it is going well or not. If it is not well done, then we have to act to replace, to redefine the path, and then once again on the cycle for this one. So we start with the planning that and implementing, re-look into that study means, and if whatever we look into that one, okay, means the plan is working well, no problem. If it is not working, we have to act on our plan strategy once again it has to be implemented. So it is like a cycle. It will be keep on doing them. That's what we call plan, do, study, act cycle. Should be there in the one way to keep on going. It is not a two-way path. It is a one-way path which might be helping us to improve the quality of higher education for this one. From the management perspective, like means though it is not in our hand, but they will be looking at it, focusing on customers, particularly improve the continue improvement should be looking to the continuously basic decisions based on the fact, look into the process how it is happening, and let everybody to be committed. That's pretty important. Means from the person X to Z, everybody should be participating on that one. That matters for this one. So that is the way how we need to make a creative, holistic view. In that sense, possibly this, means the commitment, it matters from the management as well in order to improve the quality. I mean, either is a government or a private sector, of course. Yeah. So these are all we are able to know about the teaching and learning methods for improve the quality, and evaluation of a new model of higher education, possibly like mode of instructions, on campus, web enhanced, interactive web tools, hybrid classes, distance education, so all these things. But the last 2 years, web enhanced and hybrid classes, all the things really come into the picture for that one, whether it is intentional or not intentional. But this pandemic period makes us to improve this kind of a model. But how to extend this model for education subsequently, that matters. Of course, it may hold subsequently for that. That's all from my side. Thank you so much. I'm done with my presentation. I will be happy if I know to take any questions. If I know, I'll answer. Otherwise, I'll come back to you later.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for insight on quality in higher education in depth. Participants, if you have any questions, you can ask our speaker today. Any questions, dear participants? You can put it on the chat box as well. If you have any mic issues, you can text it in the chat box and I can read it. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Dr.
Thank you, sir.
Arockiyarajan, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
So we thank you, Professor.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir. So we have come to the end of session 2 of day 1. Next session will be starting at 1:15 p.m. I request you everyone to join the session 3 as well. It will be in the same link, and we'll be taking a break for another 45 minutes, and we'll be coming back at 1:15 p.m. And the session will be on teaching method of higher education by Dr. P. Malliga from NITTR Taramani, Chennai. Thank you all. We'll see you back at session 3 at 1:15 p.m. Thank you very much.